Well, folks, getting ever so closer. But good evening, WNBA and women's basketball fans, and welcome into the WNBA 365 Network, your 24/7 365 comprehensive home for everything revolving around the WNBA and the rest of the women's basketball universe. On show number 297, 3 away, folks, from 300. We'll have more about that later on in tonight's program. But good evening, folks, on a very early matinee day of action today. 4 day games today all across the WNBA. Good evening, folks, alongside a 4-man team tonight. Eric Nimchok, the great writer from today's Fast Break in Elmhurst, Illinois, and, of course, the SoCal crew of Tanisha Stewart and Crystal Thomas joining us up from Los Angeles. Cal McClurg back in studio after our last show on Monday back here from Studio 171 in San Diego. Eric, Crystal, and Shorty, good to see you guys again via cam instead of me being incognito on Monday night. But good job, though, on that show on Monday. Good to see you guys. How's it going tonight?
Thank you.
Hello.
Hey.
And like always, folks, Facebook and Twitter wide open for conversation along with our live chat box. So feel free to hit us up, folks, on Facebook at facebook.com/WNBA365, or hit us up on Twitter at WNBA365, at Calamac3, at ShortyMamba24, at Pup1010, or at NemChalkE with the hashtag WNBA365. Or if you're viewing us live tonight, hit up that live chat box. We'll get to your commentary during tonight's program when we have a break in the action. All right, guys, 4 games, all of them early today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 today, I should say, with pretty much half the league playing today this evening. But again, they were all early matinees to accommodate teams' camp day commitments today. We'll get with the first game, guys, from the Garden of Dreams that turned out to be the Garden of Nightmares tonight. The Atlanta Dream got romped by the New York Liberty tonight, 86-62 in the game this evening. Final box for the Atlanta Dream. Tiffany Hayes again, 12 points. Bria Holmes with 11. Elizabeth Williams with 7. Sancho Little, Lasia Clarendon, Megan Simmons all with 6. Carla Cortijo with 5. Mattia Ajvan with 4. Angel McCautry played 10 minutes tonight and only had 3 points. Rachel Holloway and Rishonda Gray with 1 each. Gray was ejected tonight for a flagrant 2 in the fourth quarter, and Markeisha Gatling played 6 minutes but did not score a basket this evening. For the Liberty this evening, Tina Charles, 18 points. Sugar Rogers with 13. Shavante Zealous and Rebecca Allen with 11 points each. Amanda Zowie B with 9. Kia Stokes with 6. Adute Bolak also with 6 in 4 minutes played. Carolyn Swords with 5. Brittany Boyd with 4. And also scoring tonight was Tanisha Wright with 3. Shoni Schimmel and Swin Cash, again, did not score tonight, but they did blow play in this game. The game played from Madison Square Garden in New York, New York. Total attendance on the camp day, the total camp day attendance today, 11,317. Time of the game, 1 hour and 57 minutes. And the officials tonight were Daryl Humphrey, Jeff Smith, and Carlene Tobin. 2 techs on the Dream, including a flagrant 2 that resulted in the ejection of Rishonda Gray this evening, 2 times the late change and 5 times. The game was tied. Now, again, Shorty, the 11 a.m. Eastern start does not help us West Coasters out here. Of course, that's an 8 o'clock start for us over here. But, again, it really wasn't the Garden of Dreams game. It was more of the Garden of Nightmares for Atlanta tonight again. 2 techs in the game, 1 ejection for a flagrant 2 on Rishonda Gray. And, again, a night, though, where Angel McCautry plays a little over 10 minutes and does not play for the remainder of the game this evening. So, really, Shorty, definitely MSG was definitely the Garden of nightmares for the Liberty for the Dream today. Shorty, overall thoughts on Atlanta again? McCautry plays 10 minutes. Gray gets tossed. 2 techs in the game. The flagrant 2. A lot went wrong for ATL. What do you think, though, in your mind about today's game for the Dream?
Yeah, sadly, you talk about the early start, so I didn't really get to see much of the game because us West Coasters, no, that's too early for us. But just looking at the stat sheet, it was just bad for the Dream all around. Shot 29% from field goal, shot 29% from 3. And, yeah, you talk about Angel only playing 10 minutes, having 3 points, 2 rebounds. I guess our other panelists here can tell us more about that because, of course, like I said, I didn't get to see the game, and 10 minutes of action for an Angel, that isn't normal considering she normally averages 31 minutes a game.
Now, Crystal, I believe as well that I may have seen a tech issued on Angel, but there was only 2 techs issued, and actually, yes, the first tech was on McCautry today, along with Gray's flagrant 2 in the game ejection for Rishonda. But again, as Shorty said, though, Crystal, you're not going to win a whole lot of games shooting below 30%. Again, ATL 29.9. That doesn't count as 30% from the field. 29.4 from beyond the arc, and 73% from the free throw line. Very bad offensive day for Atlanta. Probably perhaps so too of how the Liberty played lockdown and again just dominant defense once more. But again, Crystal, a lot of things went wrong and went down south for Atlanta. But what do you think though in regards to the game played by the Dream this afternoon?
I caught very little of that game. I was up at 5 a.m. because I was trying to be productive and I went to go lift weights and stuff. But I saw very little of that game. But I mean, just looking at it, Atlanta just could not hit baskets today. I mean, it looked like Atlanta was struggling mightily, and we've. I mean, Atlanta's a team that's kind of so-so. You know, some days they'll play really well, in particular when they play against LA, and some days like today they just can't catch a break. And I don't know, if it's good for Atlanta on the Eastern Conference, even though there is technically no conference as far as East and West from playoffs, but I would have thought Atlanta would have been better than this. I mean, they started off really well, and then towards the end they started to gradually slip every game. So it looks like you have Central Little 3 for 10 in 24 minutes. You also have like you said, McCarthy was over 6 in 10 minutes because that ejection really helped him. I think once she got ejected, I think mentally that team just went downhill and they couldn't pick it back up.
Eric, now Todd Mintz does chime in, guys, but he does have a bit of some news to bring, though. He says, according to the MSG broadcast team of Mike Crispino and Roz Gold on Wude, according to both of them, there is talk that McCautry may have been nursing an injury in today's game, according to Todd and from the Liberty TV station, MSG Networks in the New York area. But again, Eric, so there was 2 techs in the game, one on McCautry for 1, plus the 10 minutes that she played. Plus, Gray gets the flagrant 2 for the game ejection along in the fourth quarter. So again, a very very off-key night again, shooting below 30% from the field and beyond the arc. Shot below 75% from the free throw line. So Eric, a lot of things went wrong for Atlanta. Plus, Tiffany Hayes only has 12 points. So again, a very rough day. But Eric, what do you think though about Atlanta's overall performance today? Probably subpar, but what do you think?
Definitely subpar. It doesn't really help when Angel only plays 10 minutes. She really makes that team go on both ends of the floor. But it also doesn't help when you have your bench contributing really poorly. Their post players on their bench are not really that productive right now. You have Rachel Holloway playing 15 minutes and scoring 1 point. Keisha Gatling, Ofer, Rashonda Gray, of course, getting tossed. They just don't really have a lot of depth in the post right now. And against a team like the Liberty, that's really key. And you can tell because the Liberty grabbed 21 offensive rebounds. That's way too many extra possessions to be giving up to that good of a team.
Indeed, and getting back in the chat box, Todd, about the Liberty, he says that Zelos and Stokes both played well. The Liberty, as we said, guys, did play dominant defense. Swords has played better as well. She may not have had great numbers, but she was very effective working with Charles to protect the paint. And he also says Atlanta, where they thrive, guys, is in transition, had very few to little to none easy transition points for all the game. Most of all what they scored was hard-earned, according to Todd in his mind this evening. But again, Shorty, now as we go out to the Liberty again, another dominant performance by the Liberty again, another great win for them at home again, 86-62. And again, Charles and Rogers again, we've talked about this two-headed monster for pretty much all 9 weeks of the season so far. And then Zealous backs up. Then there's even Rebecca Allen getting some playing time, guys. 11 points and 17 minutes played for her this evening. So Shorty again, 4 players for the Libs in double figures, another win for the Liberty at home. Charles again further adding more to her MVP type season. Shorty, overall thoughts on the Liberty side of the story tonight in this game?
Yes, they pretty much dominated the game. Good numbers for Tina Charles as always, 18-9, 13-6 for Sugar Rogers. But we always talk about others contributing to those two-headed monster, you would say, and that's how they definitely got the blowout. 11 for Zealous, 11 for Allen as well. So when you have your 2 main stars on, plus people off the bench that can contribute, that is always a good sign for New York.
Crystal, I'd say in every game so far, in some capacity, either both Charles and Rogers or one or the other has been on point every game. And then, as Shorty said just recently, that there has been production behind them for most of their wins and most of their games played so far. Again, Charles, 8 of 16 from the field, 2 free throws made, plus 20 in efficiency, 18 points. Rogers, 4 of 9, 2 for 4, 3 for 3, plus 20, 13 points. Zealous tonight, 5 of 9, 1 of 1, and didn't attempt free throws tonight, plus 2, 11 points. And then again, there's Rebecca Allen thrown in the mix again, 5 for 11, 1 of 1. No free throws, plus 10, 11 points. So again, Crystal, overall thoughts again about seeing, again, more production behind Charles and Rogers, but again, though, again, seeing those two, again, pretty much own and dominate once more for the Liberty again.
That's what the Liberty are going to need. I mean, I've talked about it before. Liberty are going to need their players, especially off the bench, especially their depth players, to start doing a little bit more, especially when you know you have your star player and your potential MVP going to the Olympics. So she's not really going to get a break during this Olympic break. So I think for the Liberty, it's about time that their other players step up. We've been waiting for that all season. Luckily, they've been doing really well, and some games they haven't needed their respective bench players to step up. But I think if you're Bill Laimbeer, you're happy with the production that you got from your team today. I mean, you realize you could finally give Charles a rest. You could finally give Rogers a rest, and hopefully their bench production keeps up for the remainder of the season.
Eric, staying with the bench production again, Eric, let's talk more about Rebecca Allen tonight again. 11 points in 17 minutes and change, played 5 of 11 from the field, shot 45.5%, made 1 3 in the game, plus 10 in efficiency, grabbed 1 board, dished out a dime, 3 steals. Did, though, have 2 turnovers. But again, Eric, so important, I think, right now, especially as we get closer and closer to the Olympic break, plus the second half of the season coming up, that, again, as we saw tonight, again, Tina Charles was able to rest for the last quarter of the game with the score being one-sided. But again, Eric, once more, seeing Rebecca Allen score 11 points in 17 minutes again, how important do you believe will it be for the Liberty's bench production to continue to thrive like this going forward towards the rest of towards the Olympic break, but also going back towards the second half of the season as well in your mind?
It's going to be tremendously important. I mean, if you look at Tina Charles, you mentioned she missed the entire last quarter. She played 10 minutes fewer than her season average, and that's pretty big, especially considering how much of the overall work she does offensively and defensively for the Liberty. So if their bench can keep up this production, I definitely think it's going to be helpful for them, especially later in the season. You know, when Charles is coming back from the Olympics, she's probably going to be a little more tired than the rest of the league. So yeah, if you can get production out of, like players like Zowie B and Allen and Zealous like this, that's it's going to put them in a good position coming to the playoffs.
And probably a big confidence boost, too, for that team going forward. But again, Liberty over Atlanta tonight, 86-62. Next game, guys. Sun and Fever this afternoon as well. Boy, oh boy, all Connecticut tonight, guys. A blowout from Indianapolis, 86-64. Sun walloped the Fever this evening, led by a 20-point effort from Shanae Agumike. By far, guys, her best game of the whole season, perhaps. Alyssa Thomas with 14 points, Shakina Strickland with 11, Camille Little with 8. Also with 8 points was Courtney Williams, Jasmine Thomas and Alex Bentley with 7 each. Morgan Tuck with 6. Jonquil Jones with 5. Kelly Ferris, no points in 5 minutes played. Rachel Bainham, DNP due to knee surgery. Anika Henry Morello, DNP. Coach's decision. For the Indiana Fever tonight, Lynetta Kaiser with 18. After that, guys, all downhill for Indy this evening. After that, Brianne January with 9. Tamika Catchings with 8. Also had with 8 points was Elena Larkins and Marissa Coleman this afternoon. Shanice Johnson with 5. Erica Wheeler with 4. Tiffany Mitchell and Natalie Achanwa with 2 each. Devereaux Peters and Jeanette Poland, no points in a little under 9 minutes played for each. Maggie Lucas again, DNP, torn ACL. Game played from the Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. Camp Day attendance today, 12,272. Time of the game, 1 hour and 45 minutes. My goodness, very quick game. Officials today were Tom Maurer, Amy Bonner, and Kevin Sperrick. 1 tech on the Fever, and no lead changes, and 4 times the game was tied this afternoon. And Shorty, I'm going to probably say that by far best game played by the Sun today, but also by far best game played for Shanae Agumike, coming off that microfractured knee surgery over the offseason last year. 20-point effort for Shanae, 5 of 9 from the field, and shot 55.6% from the field, but also was 10 of 12 from the free throw line, shot 83.3%. It was also a plus 26 in efficiency tonight. Shorty, overall thoughts on the Sun walloping Indiana, but again, though, more importantly, a breakout game for Shanae Agumike this season in your mind?
Definitely, a big, win for the Sun, even though I'm not sure if this would be ranked number 1 for them. I think the game against the Lynx might have something to say about it, but definitely another great win for, the Sun. Shanae Agumike, 20 points, 8 rebounds. I mean, definitely her best game of the season. And I'm looking at the stat sheet, and I'm thinking, whoa, You mean 34 defensive rebounds for the Sun. That's pretty big for them overall. 42 rebounds total. So, it was definitely a good overall, game for the entire team, and definitely got them the win.
Crystal, Todd Minch just brought up a player that you've talked about for the Sun that you wanted to see step up. That's Alyssa Thomas. Todd says Thomas was as large a reason was as large a reason as any for this win in his mind. And Crystal, I know that you have really much kind of begged and plead for her to kind of step her game up. And again, I think she did a good job. Again, she had 14 points tonight, 7 boards tonight, 4 assists as well, was 5-11 from the field, and all that in 26 minutes and change played. So, Crystal, what is, I guess, your thoughts, staying with Todd's point about Thomas, but also, again, seeing both Agumake and Thomas team up for 34 points for CT this afternoon in your mind?
I think she finally heard my begs and pleas for her to finally be the player that we knew that she would and can be. Hopefully she keeps it up. I mean, it's just one game. I would love to see Alyssa Thomas do well, because I think if Shanae's doing well and Alyssa Thomas does well and Alex Bentley's been playing well, I think that could be potentially their big three for them. They're a young team. They have talent on their team, but I'm just happy Alyssa Thomas finally came through. I mean, she heard me. She must have somebody must have told her about what I've been saying, but like I said, it's only one game, and I hope the next couple of games, for the remainder of the season, actually, that she can keep it up. She is like, I've referenced this before, she's kind of like their Draymond Green. She's what makes Connecticut a tough team. If you don't have Alyssa Thomas, they're probably not as tough as you would think they are, especially in that position that she's holding down right there. So hopefully, for the sake of Connecticut and for future games, I hope Alyssa Thomas has as good as a game as she had today.
Absolutely. And again, Eric, Shorty's right, though, again, that the biggest win of the year for the Sun is going to be their overtime winner against the Lynx a few games ago. But again, I don't think that we've seen the Sun really blow somebody out as of yet so far this season. Again, I think, maybe a game like this is a confidence booster for a team that has scuffled all season. But again, Eric, though, 34 points out of their two very young and up-and-coming superstars in both Agumake and Thomas, I think, has got to be some type of confidence boost for a team that has pretty much been knocked around all season. But I guess, Eric, overall thoughts about Connecticut, again, pretty much with their first and maybe so far their only, lopsided win of the season thus far this year.
Yeah, it's definitely big for them. I think Shanae in particular, you said this is her biggest game of the year. She actually had a game a couple days ago, I think it was against Minnesota, where she actually she went 8 for 8 from the field. She did not miss a shot. So she's been coming on strong lately. I think that's a big key for them. Kind of getting Kelsey Bone out of Connecticut will open up things for Shanae and their other more talented front court players. But yeah, whenever you can have a balanced scoring effort like this, we also have Strickland coming off the bench hitting a trio of three-pointers. Courtney Williams, who they're obviously very high on, who they got for Kelsey Bone in return. Just as long as they can keep up this balanced effort, I think, and Alyssa Thomas is so huge for them. It's true she's not like a three-point threat, but she's what makes them really good in transition, and that's what they want to do. They want to push the ball fast. So she's both kind of a hindrance and a help, but in this game she was definitely able to help more than she kind of held them back. So if they can keep playing like how Kurt Miller wants them to play, which is fast and use their depth to wear down older and thinner teams, I think he'll definitely be a force soon.
Yeah, I would agree with that sometime soon. And Shorty, getting back to Todd again, and I'll tell you what, Todd sometimes, folks, can saves my bacon with some of these numbers he gives me. But he does say, though, Shorty, again, that Indy, again, we saw Indiana, again, get down by a lot earlier in the season again, or just a couple games ago. What am I talking about? A couple games ago against LA where they were down by 20 and, again, came back and almost stole the game at Staples a few games ago. But, again, they come back from being down 15 in the game. But, again, the Sun then go on a 10-0 run to go pretty much put the game away. But, again, Shorty, again, I think tonight, though, for the Fever, again, is more so, again, you have one player on your entire score sheet or box score only being in double figures, and that was Kaiser with 18 points. No one else really helped out tonight. So, again, a very bad and unbalanced scoring tonight for the Fever on the stat sheet. But, again, Shorty, again, we see this Fever team, again, that they have no quit, that they don't want to say no moss and roll over. And, they're going to fight to the final buzzer sounds, and they really did that again tonight. Again, being down by 15, but again, Shorty, it's too little too late like we saw when they played LA a few games ago. But, again, final thoughts again about the Fever, again, starting off strong, but, again, falling off late towards the end.
It's just been, when it comes to the Fever. It's just been their problem, all season long so far. It's the inconsistency. We talk about, them having that never quit, always, ready to come back attitude, but that only works in games where they either, come close or eventually win. In this game, it certainly wasn't any of that, by it being a blowout. I mean, like you said, one player only in double figures, Kaiser with 18-3, and then everyone else. And just also looking at the stat sheet, only 3 players, were shooting above 30%. It was Kaiser and Larkins at 80 and 81%, and then there was January at 40%. The rest of the team, including Captain Catch herself, under 30%. So it was pretty much a off night for the rest of the group.
Yeah, very off night again. And Chris, like Shorty said, though, I mean, you can't, you're not going to win a whole lot of games. It's just, it's unbalanced is probably the best way to put it again, of how one player is 18 and then everyone else has, single-digit points again, and you're not going to win a whole lot of games when you only have one player showing up to the office that day to come to work. And everybody, guys, on the entire Fever roster, but one player was in negative plus-minus efficiency tonight. Everybody but Jeanette Poland was in negative figures tonight. So, again, Crystal, very bad game again for the Fever, shooting the ball at least at this point. But overall thoughts again about Indiana scuffling again tonight in another hard-fought loss to Connecticut tonight, though, in pretty unconvincing fashion for Indiana tonight.
I don't know if it was hard-fought from their standpoint. I mean, it kind of just seemed like they might have been asleep. I think they left their souls in the hotel rooms or in their houses or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, we're starting to see this inconsistency with Indiana, and I mean, honestly, it's not. I don't know if it's their fault, but it's not. Like, mentally, that team just kind of that mental boat has sailed. As soon as Stephanie White, announced that she was going to Vanderbilt, I mean, everybody who was on that mental boat with her just left. So I think right now, Indiana's just trying to play out their season because that's what they have. And for them, when you're a team that's so inconsistent and you're trying to play out your season, it's still a long season. I mean, you're just trying to get it over with. You're just trying to finish it. And I know they would have hoped, because this is Catch's final year, that everything could have been a little bit better. They would have been winning. They probably could have went on a playoff run. But, I mean, when you just have players who don't show up to play and players that go 1 for 6 and players who don't take shots at all, there's not much you can do. And Connecticut, since the Kelsey Bone trade, I know I keep saying this, but they have been playing very well. It seems like that ball is getting moved more. It seems like stuff is getting open, more offense is being ran. So, I mean, I think it's a little too late for them, but, I mean, at least we can see what they have in store for next season.
Eric, that was the biggest thing, though, everyone brought up, though, over the course of the offseason and throughout part of the year, of course, was, can the Fever, send Catch off into the sunset with a championship victory? And like Crystal said, though, I mean, as soon as, the announcement was made about Steph White going to Vanderbilt, that entire team mentally just checked out for the remainder of the season, is what it seems like so far. And again, you can't really rely on, one player to do the job, but also when you play inconsistent or, unbalanced or uneven basketball, for the whole season, you're probably not going to get in the back door making it into the postseason. But again, Eric, I know that we've talked about the disconnect you've kind of seen between the coaches, the coaching staff, and the players. But I guess, what do you kind of attribute to for this loss, at least with the Fever in your mind, in regards to them getting their doors blown up by the sun tonight at home?
It's just another inconsistent scoring effort. I mean, we've seen so many of these games for the Fever this season where they shoot like 36, 37%, and they're not able to move the ball, and they're not able to push the ball. And when that happens, Steph White has said it herself, we're a running team, and if we don't run, if we don't share the ball, if we don't have at least 5 or 6 players scoring double figures, we're not going to win the game, because they just don't have the size for that. And also, players like Shanice Johnson, Marissa Coleman, they just have not had the sort of breakout success that they had last season, and that helps. I mean, role players like that, if everyone is clicking like we saw from the Fever last season, it can really make a team look a lot better than I don't want to say that they really are, but they can play above their level of talent, basically. And I think the league has just caught up to them this season. They're not sneaking up on anybody. And, of course, I agree there definitely is some sort of disconnect mentally with Steph White heading to Vanderbilt after the season, and Tamika Catchings retiring. That's your head coach and your leader on the floor. So I don't know, man. It's kind of disconcerting to see, but you know, I think they still have a little bit of gas left, but it's becoming they've been consistently inconsistent. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's kind of a double whammy for the Fever. Sadly, the old game show that used to be on CBS and NBC back in the heyday. Of course, you lose one player in catching, your leader, then you lose your head coach in the same season. Tough way for the Fever to go down in flames. But again, the Sun walloping Indiana 86-64. Next game, guys, the red-hot LA Sparks look for their 19th win, and they got it, but not before the game was pretty close to the end. LA over Chicago to sweep the three-game regular season series, at least 77-67. LA now 19-1 on the 2016 campaign, just one win shy of tying the 1998 Houston Comets with the best start in league history. Final box of the LA Sparks, the red-hot Nneka Ogwumike, 10 of 11 from the field, 90.9%, 20-point effort for Nneka this evening. KT, Chrissy Tolliver, 13 points. Jantel Lavender with 12. Candace Parker with 11, playing on a bad ankle. She suffered on Sunday's victory over Washington. And Essence Carson with 10. Drop off, though, for the Sparks after Elena Beer with 5. Chelsea Gray with 4. On Waters with 2. And Evgena Belikova back in after her broken finger. No points in 4 minutes played. Anna Dobovich, Jelena Dublovich, and Whitney Knight, all DNPs. Coach's decision for the Chicago Sky tonight. 3 players tonight in double figures. Elena Deladon with 15, Allie Quigley with 13, and Cheyenne Parker with 10. Imani Boyette starting at center tonight with 9 points. Courtney Vandersloot with 7. Jameer Faulkner with 5. Tamara Young and Cappy Pondexter all with 4. Erica DeSouza, Jessica Breland, no points in 14 minutes played and 5 minutes played respectively for those two. Clarissa Dos Santos, DNP, coach decision, and Benai Jelani, DNP, of course, with her injured ACL. Gameplay from the Allstate Arena tonight, or today, in Rosemont, Illinois. Camp Day attendance tonight, 16,444. Time of the game, an hour and 44 minutes. The officials tonight were Michael Price, Katie Ludakanich, and Billy Smith. No text in the game, 1 lead change in 3 times. The game was tied. And Eric, we'll start with you, of course, with you being at the game this evening. But first of all, a couple of comments real quick. First, a comment from one of our good viewers, Christy Wilson, who says hi, and also wanted to say Sparks are rolling in her mind. So, Christy, thank you for joining us, and of course, thanks for being one of our great Twitter followers out there, always retweeting the link to the program on your Twitter handle. We love and appreciate you seeing that. So, of course, Eric, we'll start with you. More so with LA again, Eric, and just this purple and gold tidal wave that has pretty much been, pretty much hammering opponents for 20 of the 21 games so far that they've played so far this season. And again, Eric, Nneka Ogwumike, who I believe you probably have written stories about her MVP caliber status so far this season. Again, almost plays another perfect game today. 10 of 11 shooting from the field, 90.9%, plus 5 in efficiency, 11 rebounds, 2 dimes, 20 points, and another double-double. Eric, seeing Nneka's performance tonight, I guess, give us your overall thoughts about seeing Nneka's play today from Allstate Arena in your mind. Again, a very good game for her again, and again, further adding on to her MVP resume as well. But what do you think?
She's hungry. I mean, you can see it in her play. She's one of those players who gives consistent 1,000% effort every single possession on both ends of the floor. Offensively, she gets her post position, deep post position, and she doesn't stop working. If she gets pushed off the block, she'll move around and she'll try and get deeper post position again. And then on rebounding, she rebounds it like she's mad. She just snatches the ball out of midair, pounds the ball. It's really a lot of fun to watch. It's just breathtaking athleticism. I remember one play she goes around to Imani Boyette for the reverse layup like it's nothing, and that's a lot of wingspan to just totally neutralize like that. And I remember the one shot she missed. It was a mid-range jumper at the end of the shot clock. The shot clock was expiring. It wasn't a good shot anyway, so I turned to the person next to me. I said, "Wow, she finally missed." And of course, she didn't miss again, but it's just incredible to see what she's done. And she added 4 block shots as well. I think one of those was also on Boyette, so that's no small order for her. And this is another game, where Candace Parker wasn't particularly. I mean, she had 9 assists. That's still really freaking good, but it's another game where Candace Parker doesn't really have to be the entire team anymore. I would almost go as far as to say as Nneka has been the best player on the team this season for them. I don't know if you LA fans would agree with me on that, but that's just what I see.
You're true.
Yeah, and it's just she's a matchup problem without being without having anything that most power forwards don't necessarily have, rather, if that makes any sense. Like, it's not like she's a stretch four. It's not like she's got overwhelming size. She just works harder than everybody else on every single play, and it shows up in the stat sheet.
Yeah, no, Eric, I mean, no, all of us out here in LA are in the LA area, of course, me not being in the LA area, but for the most part, though, everyone is saying that right now this is NECA. Most of us is starting to become NECA's team a bit more than Candace's team so far of how she's played. But you know what? Actually, now we'll go to the chat box real quick, guys. At this point, we have one comment here. Christy Wilson writes saying, she says, I am now convinced Neko Ogumake is going to be named league MVP this season. Todd says about Chicago's defense, he says the fact is they try to stop both NECA and Candace going to the basket. I realize, but that D helps but that D also sadly helped Chicago get killed on the boards by LA today. And Shorty, Eric though hit the nail right on the head though, Tanisha, that this is a hungry and very pissed off LA team of how they played this entire season. Again, in every game that they have played in so far, you've seen that, we talked about a different mentality, different swagger to this team. Again, of how they've played through 20 games so far. Again, of how we've seen them either obliviate opponents, grind out games, lose at the final buzzer to Minnesota, but how they have been some type of a tidal wave so far this season. Again, 19-1, just a win away from tying one of the greatest teams ever, the 1998 Houston Comets, of course, who went 21 to start their season. But again, Shorty, Eric, though, I think is right. And also when LA has 4 of their 5 starters in double figures scoring points, I mean, that's one other instance as to why this team has been so good. But I guess, Shorty, overall take about LA winning their 19th game in 20 tries earlier today.
I mean, yeah, another great win for the Sparks, even though it wasn't necessarily one of their more dominant games of the season. But, it's great for them to, go through the season and figuring things out, even when they don't have the most, dominant win or the most prettiest game or whatever. They still find a way to get things done, and that's exactly, what they did in this game. I mean, shooting 55% from the field. I mean, that is insane. And just like you said, Nneka Ogumake is just so dominant. I definitely tell you, Eric, I mean, LA fans do agree that it is becoming Nneka's team. It's definitely becoming Nneka's team, shooting, 90% from the field. But I think it's like that by design. And also, I think on the part of, Candace Parker, I think she is allowing it to become Nneka's team because, as it was already brought up, I mean, she is sacrificing a lot of her offense to, let others be great. And that's exactly what she's doing for, Nneka Ogumake. I mean, Candace's field goal percentage is down, even though, her three-point percentage has, kind of went up, but she's just sacrificing her game, taking a step back in order to let the team in its entirety be great. And also, before I go, I mean, I was really in this game impressed with LA on the rebounding end as far as, Todd Mintz, brought up. Actually, out rebounding the team for once, 35-27. That is big considering as dominant as LA is, they're not really one of the best rebounding teams in the league, only ranked 11th in rebounding at 30%. So finally, they definitely stepped up on one of, those categories, and rebounding was definitely it.
Yeah, rebounding definitely, again, as Shorty said again, 35-26 or 27 LA out rebounding the Sky today. And again, Crystal, there's been so many different things about this LA club. Sue Favors wrote about it on her blog. We've talked about it here on the program, but there really is, not only, a different mentality, but again, of how like LA just comes down, they play pissed off basketball. Like, it's like every game that they play, they wake up on the wrong side of the bed and they just go out there and crush people. That's what it seems like, at least, guys, through 20 games for again of how LA has played, with a different mentality, different swagger that we've not seen from a LA club in probably in quite some time, guys, of how they really have, come in and really, taken the league and taken teams by force recently. But again, Crystal, Neko Gumake continues to play phenomenal, consistent, hard-nosed basketball. Candace Parker guts out a game after rolling an ankle on Sunday, still puts up 11 points again. And also 4 of the 5 LA starters are in double figures tonight. Again, Crystal, overall thoughts on LA's victory. Again, they're 19th in 20 tries this season.
I mean, just this is what happens when we have a coach that players can buy into. I mean, we last year they didn't have all their players. We kind of saw it towards the end when they started to get together. But this is a team that really believes in what their coach says, and it shows. I mean, this is a team that actually likes each other. This is a team that doesn't mind going out there and dying for each other. They clearly listen to what Brian Agler is telling them, and it shows. Like I said, I mean, there's a reason why they're 19-1. Am I impressed with their 19-1 record? No, because it doesn't mean anything right now. I'm not saying it's not cool, but I'm just saying like there's a bigger picture.
I agree.
A bigger picture is a championship. You know, there's been a lot of times where we've seen teams go undefeated and they get to the last game of the championship and they still play.
Warriors.
Exactly. So, I mean, 19-1 is very impressive. It's cool. It's a hard feat, and I hope they do get the record. But at the same time, I won't be impressed until I see LA hosting a championship up at the end of the season. And yes, they've been playing well. It shows, and like I said, they fully buy into what Brian is saying. They believe in Brian Agler, and I mean, this is just a very impressive team this year. They're exciting to watch.
No, I agree. Regular season records, folks, don't mean jack squat unless you're not winning the championship in any sport you play when you have a record like this. So I would totally agree with that aspect. One quick point I want to bring up, guys, before we move on to the sky real quick. Shorty, we'll go around the perimeter real quick. Shorty, in your mind, Brian Agler, Coach of the Year in your mind, yes or no?
He is, without question, Coach of the Year.
So one vote for yes. Crystal, how about you? Coach Agler for Coach of the Year this season. What do you think?
I mean, right now, yeah, but you know, anything's subject to change. But right now, that's his.
All right, so we got 2 on the yes campaign. Eric, how about you?
Too early to tell. I think Coach of the Year is an award that's really driven by narrative. So I think if the Sparks, finish the season with some ridiculous record like breaking the all-time winning record in the WNBA, I think he's got it on lockdown. But don't count out someone like Cheryl Reeve in Minnesota.
All right, so Eric will say unless LA breaks the Mercury 29 win record from 2014, perhaps. But at this point, I'd probably say yeah, as first half favorite at least for this, and then the second half could be a different story. Real quick, Eric, before we get to the sky, or now we'll get to the sky, but first we'll get to Todd. Actually wanted you, Eric, to actually bring up a point and wanted me to ask about your thoughts about the lineup changes that Pokey Chapman has kind of been doing with the lineup rotations. She has Sloop, Cap, and DeSouza coming in off the bench. Eric, before we get to your thoughts about the game tonight, what are your thoughts, I guess, about those, kind of shuffling the deck of cards for Pokey Chapman and the sky in the starting lineup? What do you think?
That's a good question. And it's been something that I have been ragging on for a while now, actually. I think, well, first of all, Jameer Faulkner is starting because, in the first place, Courtney Vandersloot rolled her ankle a couple games ago. I think it was against Minnesota. I think it was the game in Minnesota. She injured herself. But so I think she's on a minutes limit right now, and Jameer Faulkner is starting because of that. So that's probably the reason for that. I think Boyette definitely needed to start a while ago. There's just nothing that I don't think Erica DeSouza brings really anything to the table that Boyette doesn't at this point in their respective careers. And Cappy Pondexter has been playing terribly. Like, I'm sorry, she's just the holding the ball, just dribbling the air out of the basketball. And if you're going to do that, you got to make your shots at least. And Cappy has not been doing that. I think in the last game against Phoenix, it was more of a matchup thing because Phoenix is a team that likes to play fast, but they're a terrible rebounding team. So I think Pokey she made an adjustment in that she wanted to take that away from them, and you could just get the rebound and go. Because Phoenix likes to play at that pace, but if you can get down the court before Brittany Griner does, you can kind of neutralize that rim protection effect. And I think it worked pretty well in that game. So I think this is just a continuing to just rewarding the players who played to her game plan, and just seeing where it goes from there. I've been pretty disappointed in this guy this season. Obviously, one thing that you don't want to do in pro sports is lose with old players. If you're going to lose with young players because you're at least trying to develop them. So having Cheyenne out there, having Jamira out there, having Boyette out there, that I like the direction where they're going with that because I think Pokey not only realizes that it's now is the time for them. They need to play. They need to develop, and also just that the players like D'Souza and Cappy are not above accountability just because they're veterans. So I like this move both on a basketball standpoint and just because there's so many politics in pro sports, and I'm glad to know their organization is at least above that.
Right, absolutely in that one. Guys, a couple comments in the chat box. Shorty, Christy Wilson one-ups you about cough Warriors, cough about the regular season record. She goes, cough, cough, New England Patriots, cough, cough, when they went 16-0 and lost the Super Bowl to the Giants in Arizona a few years ago. And also they both say, both Todd and Christy say Agler for Coach of the Year. Todd says Agler by a landslide as of today. But Shorty, now as we go now to the Chicago Sky today again, tough day again. 3 players that were in double figures again. That was Quigley, Parker, and Deladon. But again, Shorty, once more, like Eric said, though, I mean, if you're going to lose or at least try to lose with the younger players instead of the old vets that, of course, that we've seen some teams go to the system a little bit where they play the old players more than the younger players that they need to develop. But I guess, Shorty, overall thoughts on Chicago's loss to the Sparks today from Rosemont, Illinois.
I mean, yeah, definitely, agree. I do like the lineup change and, giving some of the younger players, more playing time, let them get the feel of the game, but it was just too much LA. I mean, look, I give some props to Chicago because, they definitely got back in the game, especially in the fourth. I think LA was once up by 16 with under 6 minutes to go when they just chipped away at it. They never gave up. You talk about Indiana with the never give up attitude. Chicago was definitely, they definitely had that in this game. It was just that, it was too much from LA. And I mean, their defensive schemes, I mean, I think they were on point. They never kept the same defensive schemes. They mismatch in between the 2-3 zone and man as well. It's just that, just too much of LA's dominance, and they couldn't close things out.
Crystal, before we get to the game, I want to actually ask you that question, but Choice brought up again. Are you a big fan of switching up defensive schemes and defensive rotations during the game? Because I know that I saw this when the San Diego State men's basketball team won the conference title 2 years ago. They switched their offense to a 2-3 zone in the second half from a man-to-man. When they were down almost 20 points, they ended up going on a 19-0 run to win the game. But I guess sometimes, Crystal, it works, and there's times that it doesn't work. But, Crystal, are you a fan or a believer in switching up defensive rotations or schemes during the course of a game?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of it. I mean, if you don't try to figure out, I mean, the name of the game is trying to stop the other team from getting points. If you know your defense isn't working, and I'm just going to use this example. If you know a player keeps doing a pick and roll, and you don't do anything to stop it, it's kind of like you're enabling them to do it. I mean, yeah, there's a whole saying, I can keep running the same play on you 3 to 4 times in a row. If you can't stop it, so what? But that's the point. You need to try to stop it. I feel like if you don't switch defense or if you don't try to help your team win the game, then you as a coach, you're not really helping them at all. I mean, obviously as a coach, you can't go out there and play defense for them, but I feel like if you're not helping them, if you're not switching anything, then what's the point of you being, what's the point of you even trying to conduct your troops, and I think it's good for you to try something, whether it be a 1-3-1, a 2-3 man-to-man, regular zone. I mean, you have to try something. I mean, that's all the name of the game is to try, but if it doesn't work, you just got to hang your head and say, I mean, offensively, they just killed us tonight.
By the way, if we did let head coaches play defense, Crystal, it'd be Lambier versus Cooper, like round 30 from them heydays. So boy, oh boy, here we go again. By the way, Eric, Todd wanted to chime in. He said he agrees with you to the point. Even though the Sky gave up a lot of points to Phoenix, they played better defense in his mind in regards to today's game. He said they played a matchup zone a lot, and LA was not lighting it up. So he does agree with you about the lineup change and how the defense was played tonight. But by the way, Crystal, I guess now as we go back to you once more. How about overall thoughts on Chicago's game again today? Again, they were down by a lot, but again got closer, but again ended up falling by 10 to LA earlier today.
I think the reason why they got close, we've seen LA do this. There's a point in LA games where LA gets complacent and they stop, and it's kind of like, oh, we're up, we don't have to do anything. It's kind of like almost like they're teasing them. it's kind of like when you have a dog and you're eating food in front of the dog and you just wave like the pizza in front of the dog and then they snap at it and you're just like, nope. It's kind of like that's what LA's doing with these teams, and LA can't do that. That they won, but until they clean that up, that's something they need to worry about. Rebounding, free throws, because oh my God, I'm not even gonna get into those free throws. Not today, but the past games, their free throws have been terrible. But I mean, that's something they have to work on. Trying to close out games and actually closing them out without letting the team get within 10 or 5 points.
I tease my dog every night at dinner time, so I know where Crystal's going with this one at this point in time. And Christy says about my joke about Lambeer versus Cooper if head coaches play defense, she said it would be a bloodbath between Lambeer and Cooper if that happened, and she also said LOL. Last game of the day, guys, was the Mystics and Mercury hooking up for the third and final time this season. Mercury edged the Mystics tonight from home court 78-74 on Ghostbusters Day in Phoenix, of course, with the new movie coming out this Friday in theaters everywhere. For the Mystics tonight, Emma Meesman 22 points, Taylor Hill 15, Sonja Petrovic with Bria Hartley with 9, yikes, Ivory Lotta with 8, Kalia Copper with 6. Also with 6 points was Tiana Hawkins, Tia Ruffin Pratt with 4, Natasha Cloud and Kia Vaughn with 2 each. Stephanie Dolson, no points in 17 minutes played. Allie Mullet and Jamie Weisner, both DNPs. Coach's decision for the Phoenix Mercury, Brittany Griner, 22 points. Diana Taurasi, 18 points. But technical foul on DT, her 7th of the year. She will be suspended for the next game due to technical foul accumulation. Dewana Bonner, 16 points. Misty Bass with 12. Sonja Petrovic with 4 points, but all 4 of her points in the clutch for the game. Marta Chagre, Kelsey Bone, and Lindsey Harding with 2 each. Izzy Harrison, no points in 3 minutes played. And Alex Harden, also no points in 2 minutes played. Candice Dupree and Penny Taylor, both DNPs, perhaps nursing injuries at this point in time. The game played from Talking Stick Resort Arena in Phoenix, Arizona. Total attendance today, 10,628. Time of the game, 1 hour and 56 minutes. The officials were Roy Goldbein, Byron Jarrett, and Tiffany Bird. 1 tech on Washington, 2 techs on Phoenix. 4 lead changes, and 6 times the game was tied this afternoon from the Purple Palace. And again, Shorty, the Mystics, again, who we've talked about as up and down, up and down, up and down. But again, though, a game, though, that I believe that much like I saw when the Mystics played in Phoenix in May, again, a game that they had a chance to win, but again, they came up empty again at the final. Pretty much, they come up empty again in the second half of this afternoon. Shorty, final takeaway from the Mystics in the game today against Phoenix in your mind?
I mean, truth be told, it was a winnable game for the Mystics. They could have actually won the game. It's just that, when it came down to the final minutes, they just couldn't convert. They was empty on a lot of their possessions, and they let, the Mercury, hang around, and that pretty much killed, their chances. But good numbers for Meeseman, at least, 22 points on 52% shooting 100% from 3, so she's keeping that streak of being the best 3-point shooter in the league. But she didn't really have much help. Her other post player and Stephanie Dolson, who's been who's been off for the last couple of games, especially in this game. 0 points from her, and then Taylor Hill. Yeah, she had 15 points on 25% shooting, 16% from 3. So it was pretty much like she wasn't even there, even though she did put up 15. But like we've been saying before about the Mystics, just total inconsistency. You need others to step up to help out Meeseman.
Yeah, no, definitely, Crystal. And again, it's been the biggest problem, though, has been more so for Washington has sort of been the fact that at this point, again, is it's been, Meeseman or somebody else carrying the load, and that's what's really doomed Washington in a lot of these games. Todd, though, does chime in to say, though, that Meeseman is one constant, and Taylor Hill has some moments playing well at this point. But again, Crystal, overall thoughts again about the Mystics again, and a game, though, that I think that both Shorty and I agree, a winnable game for the Sticks, but again, they fall at the end.
I mean, if Washington it seemed to do that, like they'll get really close in the game, and then for some reason at the end they just fall apart. It seems as what just happened? My thing switch. I was about to read something, but my WNBA app is doing what it does and messes up frequently. Where is it? I can't read my stat now because I can't find. Oh, there it is. It came back. All right, I'm back. It came back. Sorry about that. So, like I was gonna say, Washington seems like they always end up getting close in the game, and then they're a competitive team. They make it competitive, but like Shorty said, I mean, all they have right now is Misamin. They're going to need more from Misamin. They're going to need more from my quote unquote twin, as you guys say, if they really want to make it competitive. And like I said, Dolson was 0 for 3, didn't really take that many shots, only played 17 minutes. Taylor Hill, she's still getting back into the swing of things, but she had 15 points for them. I mean, for Washington, that 15 points was really big behind Misamin's 22. I still can't believe she's shooting that high from the 3-point line. She is. It's. I seen it with my own eyes. It's crazy. It's just it's so quick. Like you don't know what's coming. But Washington is definitely probably going to have to revamp their bench in the upcoming years. They're going to have somebody that helps Lotto too. They're going to definitely need a backup guard for Lotto because it seems like Lotto's the only one that can really distribute the ball right now. And when she's not in the game, there's not really ball movement like that. And they're going to also just need more production from their bench anyway. Because like I said, Misamin can't be the only one doing anything, and Dolson, I think, is suffering from something mentally right now and hasn't really been in the game all season. So Washington got close. You got to give them, 3 snaps in the hand clap for it. But at the same time, I think the reason why they're able to get close because Phoenix's defense towards the end kind of let up a little bit. Defensively, Phoenix has been struggling sometime, and even they have a 6'8" or 9" grinder down there, she's still not really carrying the load she should defensively.
And again, Eric, as you said, perhaps a very winnable game for the Mystics today. Again, again losing by 4 at the final buzzer, basically, but again, not really at the final buzzer. But again, a game though that they easily could have won today in Phoenix. Again, with a very, very complacent, very, very up and down Phoenix team. But again, the Mystics again kind of shoot themselves in the foot again with only having Misamin and Hill being the 2 players in double figures. But again, Eric, overall thoughts on Washington at least in this game today?
Basically, just the same as always. The same story that it's been for the most of the season. They're just not quite there. You have Misamin, who she's a stud. She's a star in the making. I would argue that Charity is a star, but they don't have much outside of that. Taylor Hill's going to get up her shots, but she's been pretty streaky, as has shown throughout her entire career. Not a lot of scoring out of their point guard position unless Ivory Latta's on the floor. Stephanie Dolson's been a big disappointment for me, honestly. Once again, only 17 minutes. I think we discussed this last show. 17 minutes, only got 1 rebound, scored 0 points. You need more out of that. You need more out of that position for them if you're Washington. Because at the end of the day, Phoenix just has a lot more firepower than they do.
Yeah, no, totally agree 100%. And again, Shorty, as we now go to the Mercury again, the Mercury win tonight 78-74. Again, Shorty once more, Brittany Griner, 22 points, grabbed 8 boards this evening, 22 points, 8 rebounds tonight. But again, more so bigger story again, Diana Taurasi due to technical foul accumulation suspended for the next Mercury game, again with her picking up her 6th and 7th technicals of the season. But again, Shorty, more so it's about Sonja Petrovic, again, who won the game with the game-winning basket, put the game on ice more so with about 30 seconds left in the game. So I guess, Shorty, overall thoughts about the Phoenix Mercury, at least in this game. Again, a game that they at one point were leading, and again, once more kind of sat back and let the Mystics come back in this game, and of course DT going to be done for the next game because of technical foul accumulation.
Yeah, we already know about Diana Tech Rossi, and she couldn't help herself at all, so she'll be out for the next game. But, just looking at the stat sheet, Phoenix pretty much, it seemed like, we keep talking about different teams being the same story, so far this season. And, I mean, one reason why the Mystics came back is because Phoenix, once again, terrible on defense. You probably heard this from me a million times. Dead last in defensive rating. So, of course, they were going to let teams back. And they did it, this time with the Mystics. It's just that the Mystics couldn't convert, like I said, in their last shots. And as you said, Petrovic, made the not necessarily game-winning basket, but just the crucial, basket to, seal the deal. She made that crucial play. But, I mean, big numbers for, the Mercury, 5 players in double figures, so it was definitely a much-needed win for them, knowing their struggles, throughout the season.
And Christy Wilson just said it right. She says the Mercury are such a mess. They have been a chaotic dumpster fire all season again. Like I said about them when they lost to Indiana last Friday, was that they have pretty much been a chaotic dumpster fire all season again. The terrible start, inconsistent play, letting teams back in the game, blowing games, down the stretch or whatnot. And again tonight, adding on to the dumpster fire is Diana Taurasi again and her technical foul accumulation again. That will lead to a suspension for D for the next game. But again, Crystal, I mean, they do get the win more importantly, but I guess the overall thoughts on the overall game that Phoenix played tonight against Washington at home.
It was a spotty game. Could have been better. I mean, I think Diana Taurasi's technical, she's probably not happy about it, but since they got the win, she's probably kind of like, we all know DT's personality, so she's deep down inside, she's probably mad that she hurt the team, but at the same time, she's like, whatever, we won. But I think they have to clean up a little bit better. There's still a chance that they can make the playoffs, but I don't know how far they'll go, especially with their inconsistent play, especially on defense and rebounding. But I mean, for them, it was a tough win, but a win nonetheless.
Yeah, Eric, probably a game though that, as Crystal said, DT knows that she's going to be. That she's going to be up for the next game, but it's kind of like a shoulder shrug, as KT would say. It's a shoulder shrug because it's like whatever, they got the win and she's going to be up for the next game. But again, Eric, any thoughts to pass along from Phoenix's win tonight, more importantly over the Mystics this evening?
Thoughts to pass along. Well, it was pretty good for them to get a win, without Penny Taylor and without Candice Dupree playing any time. I mean, that's all due respect, but that's a pretty big upgrade. That'd be a pretty big upgrade from Petrovic and Bass starting. Diana Taurasi, she didn't have a great game, but being Diana Taurasi, she came through when it counted, and her being suspended, unless they rescind it, which has been known to happen, like a lot. It's definitely gonna be a huge blow for them because then they'll be missing, provided Dupree doesn't come back. They'll be missing a lot. You saw Brittany Griner. She had a pretty good game today, actually. But if those three players aren't playing, they're just gonna collapse on Griner and make other people beat them because that's a significant lot of firepower that the Mercury are gonna be missing.
Shorty, real quick, I know we're running out of time here, folks, but we're going to try to get to some more comments and get our predictions for the games on Friday. Shorty, real quick, yes or no, does Phoenix need to make a coaching change at the end of the season?
Ultimately, I think it'll be up to management, but I would say, you know what, I'm kind of torn on it because I want to say yes, but, Sandy Brondello did win that title in 2014, so I would say yes.
All right, so one vote for yes, but Crystal, how about you?
I've said this before. I don't know if it'll come at the end of the season. I wouldn't be surprised with the way that WNBA management works. I mean, they got rid of Mike Tibble, and he was doing well in Connecticut. So, I wouldn't be surprised. I want to say probably not. They're probably going to give her like one more year to see what happens. But if they did, I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, so Crystal's kind of in the middle on this. Eric, how about you?
Absolutely not. I think Sandy Burdell is a terrific coach. You referred to the championship they won in 2014, which was impressive, but in my opinion, she was even more impressive as a coach last season when they were missing Taurasi, when they were missing Taylor, and they still finished with, I believe, the second seed in the West, 20 wins. That's one heck of an accomplishment. People were saying, "Oh, Phoenix is going to tank again this year." No, Sandy Burdell coached them amazingly well, and I think she gets a fairly long leash, I would think.
Yeah, I'm also saying no, guys, because I believe this is more on the players on the floor who have screwed up more than Brondello's coaching. So at this point, maybe next year, I think, is right now what would be said in Phoenix, because right now, obviously, this year is not the year that they're looking to make any type of run. Okay, guys, real quick, rundown for the games on Friday. No games in the WNBA on Thursday. We'll go around the perimeter here real quick and get everyone's thoughts. First up, guys, Sparks at Sun, LA looking for their 20th win of the season. Shorty, who you got?
Los Angeles.
One vote for LA. Crystal, how about you?
I'm going to go with Connecticut. I'm just playing. LA. One day I'm going to do that, and I'm serious and see what people say.
All right, so 2 votes for Los Angeles. Eric, how about you, LA or CT?
Yeah, I'm going to keep going with LA until they lose.
LA till they lose. That's a new one. So all of us will go with Los Angeles. Next game, guys, Dream at Fever, 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock on League Pass or WNDY. Shorty, who you got?
Fever. I think they're going to bounce back.
So one vote for Indy to hold home court. KT, how about you?
This is hard, but I'm going to go with Atlanta.
Atlanta on the road for Crystal. Eric, how about you?
Atlanta.
I'm also going to go with Atlanta as well. Next game, guys, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock, League Pass MSG. Libs at Lynx. We already saw the Liberty beat them once at Target Center. Shorty, who you got?
This is a tough one. I'm going to go with Minnesota until they actually lose.
So Minnesota to hold home court at Target Center. Crystal, how about you? Liberty or Lynx?
This is going to be a good one and a fun one to watch. Ooh, my God. I want to say the sausage links, but I'm not sure. I'm going to put a question mark behind the sausage links.
Lynx with question mark. So 2 to hold home court. Eric, how about you? Libs or Lynx?
Yeah, Tina Charles will know Tina Charles. I don't see it happening again where the Liberty beat the Lynx at home, so I'm going with Minnesota.
All right, all 4 of us will go with the Lynx to hold home court. 5:30, 8:30, guys. Wings at Sky, League Pass, the U2. Shorty, who you got?
Both teams super inconsistent, but I'm going with the Wings on this one.
1 vote for Dallas. Crystal, how about you?
I'm going to go with my mind instead of my heart. Chicago.
All right, 1 vote for each. Eric, how about you?
Chicago.
All right, I'm going to be going with Chicago as well. So 3 for 4 there. That one, last game, guys, for Friday night, Mystics and Storm on League Pass or Joe TV, Fox 24 in Seattle, 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Shorty, who you got?
For this matchup, I'm ultimately, I'm going to throw a bone to the Storm.
Throw a bone to the Storm. Okay, 1 vote for Seattle. Crystal, how about you?
I can actually see that happening, but yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Storm because Crystal Ruffin-Pratt is not going to probably ball like she should. I'm gonna go with the Storm.
2 votes for Seattle. Eric, how about you?
I think this game is going to be really close. I think
Yeah.
these two teams are pretty equal in terms of talent level. I'm going to go with Seattle just for the sake of home court.
Same here, sake of home court. I'll go with the Storm as well. So those are all of our picks, folks. But again, no games on Thursday, so no games tomorrow in the WNBA. All games resume on Friday. Sparks and Sun at 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock on League Pass. Also at 4 o'clock, Dream at Fever on League Pass or WNDY. 5 o'clock game, Liberty and Lynx at 5 on League Pass or MSG. 5:30 game will be Dallas and Chicago on League Pass or the U2, and at 7 o'clock on League Pass and Joe TV, Fox 24. Mystics and Storm, 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Again, and you can catch all the action, of course, folks, on WNBA League Pass. And with that, guys, of course, as we already know, guys, on next Monday, July 19th, guys, is going to be a pretty another historic milestone for the network, guys. Of course, it will be the network's 300th show already through pretty much, guys, 2.5 years of work, and we're going to be here for a 300th show next Tuesday, I should say, July 19th here at 9 o'clock Pacific, midnight Eastern. So, Shorty, I know we've already celebrated the 2-year anniversary. Now we have another milestone to celebrate this year, of course, the 300th show for the network here, of course. As I said, guys, on this 2-year anniversary, of course, an idea that started here in February 2014 that I really thought was not going to last this long, but here it has lasted thanks to the 4 of you guys in the Hangout and all the people that follow us across social media that have made this network possible for us to be here for now 300 shows next Tuesday. Shorty, overall thoughts again about being a part of another milestone here on the network end of the 300th edition of the program in some capacity on next Tuesday night.
I think it's a very big achievement for the network, and we're going to celebrate, the 300th show, and hopefully cheers to 300th more shows in the future.
Yeah, I would agree. Crystal, how about your thoughts again? I owe a lot of credit, though, to the people that I work with, of course, you 4 plus Marquez and Reagan and all the people as well that tune in to the network every night or chime in on social media, always help us out or say what's up. But again, Crystal, your thoughts, I guess, about the 300th show for the network next Tuesday night.
It's pretty cool, and I never have been a part of an anniversary like that, 300 shows. That's seeing our faces a lot. They probably are getting tired of it. But, like Shorty said, I wish it for 300 more, and it should be fun.
Now, Eric, I beg to differ with Crystal. I think they're more pissed off and tired of seeing me on here. I've been on here for every single show, 297 of them to be exact, to my credit. Again, that's not a pump up or bragging rights. But again, of course, it was an idea that I got, in February 2014, going through college, and I thought I would start something kind of, try to give us like some type of positive publicity. Of course, what we always read on social media or read on websites or forums. But again, Eric, 300 shows. You guys have been here now for the 2-year anniversary milestone. Now you'll be here for the 300th show coming up next Tuesday. Of course, Eric, any thoughts you want to pass along about the 300th edition of the program next Tuesday night?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Any
I'm fine.
particular thoughts? I'm not exactly sure.
I don't know.
Sorry I couldn't have been part of more of them, but I'll try my best harder in the future, I guess.
You've been here for quite a lot, Eric. I know that we know that you've had some other commitments, but again, and also guys, Christy Wilson says cheers to you guys, and hopefully cheers to 300 more. But again, folks, our 300th show will come your way live and in full next Tuesday night, July 19th, which of course, folks, will be the final night of our programming, because from beginning the next day up until August 6th, we'll be off air, of course, for all of us will be off air. So, folks, there is going to be no coverage, regardless if you guys want to host or not. There is no coverage of the WNBA during the time I'm gone, because there will be no news or no games going on during the point of the time I'm on vacation, folks. And to polish up on that again, vacation period, folks, will run July 20th through August 6th, or August 5th, I should say. We will be back, though, folks, on Saturday, August 6th, to begin our Olympic coverage, beginning on the same day that the women's basketball tournament is slated to start for the Olympics in Rio. So that will be coming away on August 6th. With that, though, folks, again, thanks for hanging out tonight, dear folks, on this edition of the WNBA 365 Network on show number 297. And by the way, Todd Mintz says, guys, hopefully we'll get to 3,000 by the time this is all said and done. But we're getting there pretty ever so slowly. But hopefully our next benchmark is 365 is show number 365, and hopefully 500 after that. But we'll hopefully work our way, though, to get to 3,000 by the time it's all said and done, Todd. But again, thanks, of course, to all of you folks for joining us here tonight on the program on this great night in the WNBA. But, of course, folks, for the hardworking panel of Eric Nemchok, Crystal Thomas, and Tanisha Stewart, this is Cal McClurg from Studio 171 in San Diego signing off. Up until tomorrow night, folks, have a safe night. Drive home safely. Thanks for stopping by and joining us, folks, and good night. This has been the WNBA 365 Network. See you folks back here tomorrow night for episode number 298. Back here tomorrow night, following tomorrow night, coming away at, as of right now, 9 o'clock Pacific, midnight Eastern. Take care, folks, and good night. Bye-bye.